There's a man who actually was seen ramming his van into police headquarters there. That's where we find Fox 29 Philadelphia's Steve Keeley. He is live on scene there with the latest. And Steve, what can you tell us? It's some pretty wild video. We were looking at it earlier.
Well, the latest only 5 minutes ago, I got from Philadelphia police sources that this is now investigated as an intentional act. And here is the aftermath. This is a Honda Odyssey, and I actually witnessed this. I was doing a report here. I'm sitting in this seat here. That's our news vehicle. And I'm facing this way, which is walking at Broad Street, the main drag through Philadelphia, just 4 blocks from Philadelphia City Hall. And I watched this van come as these headlights are coming down the street at a pretty good speed and make a hard right turn into those front doors and crash. Goes up the curb and into those brass and glass doors, and then they don't come out, and I run over there. And my first instinct is maybe this is a medical emergency. Then I'm thinking, the way the world is, maybe this would be something else. And now you're looking at video, I'm told, in my ear. And so here is what happens. And then you can let the audio go full and hear what happens with police as they pull this man out of the vehicle. All right, so if you can hear me again, they pull this man out. At first, you're thinking it's incoherent. He's like, I don't know nothing, I don't know nothing. They're trying to kill me, they're trying to kill me. He's got one sock on and a barefoot with the other, no shoes on. They didn't even go into the vehicle to look for anything, explosives or guns or whatever. They haven't checked yet. Maybe they're waiting for a search warrant, but apparently the vehicle's deemed safe since so many people are around it. But the damage in City Hall right now is extensive. Now, as we come back to a live picture, those front doors were the main doors to the Philadelphia Inquirer newspaper. This building, nearly 100 years old, opened in 1924. It was renovated for 3 years after the Inquirer sold it. And Philadelphia, the city, bought it. They did $252 million in renovations to it. And the Philly police just moved in to their new headquarters last spring. So barely a year in here. And the Philly police officers, the majority that work here, enter and leave through the back, and there's an underground ramp that all the officials and the executives with the police department drive into. Those doors are just ornate doors from the Inquirer days, really not used now. The doors to the right are what Philly police use, and you can see the security steps through those windows where you have the metal detector and you have a lot of checkpoints there before you can get in there as a guest and make sure things are safe. But the one thing they did not do with all that $250,000 in renovations, one thing you don't notice here, but you see in every other building, especially federal buildings, are the ballards, those steel pipes you see that prevent any kind of truck bomb attack or anybody driving into this building, or the concrete planters, or any other obstacles on the sidewalk. And you can bet, according to a law enforcement source who told me, that these will be installed ASAP now, because this attack on this building proved that the Philadelphia Police Headquarters was vulnerable to attack. And this veteran, who's on all the meetings about terror and keeping all the parades and all the big events here safe, said that those windows should be tinted so nobody who's an active shooter could see the cops working in there in security. And they say this is how most active shooters enter buildings, by driving into a front entrance if they can't gain access any other way. So very, very lucky that this happened, and it proved nothing bad happened. Nobody got hurt, but it proved and showed that they were vulnerable, and maybe they will be a lot less vulnerable in the future now after this serious accident happens here. That is no accident now, we learned from investigators, but an intentional act is being investigated by, and right now it's Philly police leading the investigation with the detectives here, but no doubt you can bet federal authorities will want to get in on this and try to help out as well and figure out how to make this building a lot more secure, Zach.
And Steve, you said you were there, getting ready to work on another story, and you saw this happen. What went through your mind as soon as this occurred? I mean, it just had to be like a split-second thing. I mean, and you had to switch gears. What was that like?
Yeah, I yelled, "Oh my God!" And again, I've covered enough incidents like this where you'll see somebody older age have a medical emergency, because when you don't see any attempt to stop, your thought is somebody's having a heart attack, and they're not in control of the vehicle, and that's why there's no attempt to brake. But the fact that it made a hard right turn also tells you, man, was that intentional? Because we're at Philadelphia Police Headquarters, And we live in this day and age with acts of terror and things of that sort. So I immediately go over there and I say, your instinct is to help somebody, but then you're thinking, I better back off because I don't know if there's a weapon involved or if this thing's going to blow up. And then Philly police started coming out and then yelling to the guy, open the door, and he didn't come right out right away. And the other thing I thought was odd, that no airbags deployed, and I couldn't see a person in there. And I was wondering if they were fumbling around in the back because there's all tinted windows back there, and I couldn't see what was going on. So it was one of those incidents where you're like, oh my God, what is going to happen next? And I was grateful to see the cops coming run out and get the person out of there and make it a safe incident, at least for us, as we went into journalism mode and away from eyewitness mode and potentially victim mode, because who knew what was going to happen at that point? It was almost one of those surreal incidents that you cover. Rarely do you just see it happen. You're usually looking for a witness to tell you what happened. And this time, I didn't need anybody to tell me because I sat there looking at the windshield and just about 55 feet away from it, I saw what happened, Zach. So it's still kind of unnerving thinking back at it, but you go in to do your job immediately. And I had a report on that 5 minutes later and trying to sum up things and also try to find out, was this intentional or not? And then we just learned, yes, Central detectives, the guys that investigate stuff in Center City, Philadelphia, now say it's an intentional act.
Well, sometimes the news comes to you. Pretty wild stuff and wild video. Steve Keeley, Fox 29 Philadelphia. Appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you so much.
You got it.